Hey guys, welcome back to Cultured Boys, a show where two guys just want to have a chat. Again, this week I'm joined by Sam. Pepe's still not here, so let's get back into live action adaptations.
So the next one, I think, sort of the final one that we both have watched.
Yes.
This is actually, I don't know if you know this, you must do, but Fullmetal Alchemist is actually my favourite manga and anime of all time.
I did know that.
And what's good to know is they have very much kind of taken the influence from Brotherhood and the manga for this than the original series of the anime.
Yes, I will agree to that.
So rewatching it again, like, I actually very much enjoyed this live action film. Like, very much enjoyed it. There were parts that didn't resonate so much with me, which I think you know. but I'll get into that. But, you know, generally speaking, like, the actor who played Ed, I thought was really good.
Yeah.
You know, they did Alphonse justice, which I'm really sad to learn it was the actor who voices him, but entirely in motion capture. As in, they didn't get to build and put someone in a giant suit of armor for it, which makes me very upset. Yeah, so it was just entire motion capture. I mean, I would literally buy and show that piece of armor in my house any time of the week if my fiance would let me.
Dude, like an Alphonse armor? That'd be sick.
I know, just in the corner of my office. I would literally love that so much. I'd spend thousands on it.
But then you'd need like a voice box or some sort of recording. You're like the voice actor. Like you'd probably have to hope he does like.
So it just talks.
You'd have to buy probably a bunch of cameos from him if he did that.
Yeah. So I mean, as we were saying, like it's one of the in terms of like it's probably, I've never watched it in Japanese.
Okay.
I adore the American dub and the voice actors for it. I just think I do. And maybe I should, but you know, I've read the manga as well. So, you know, a lot of people say unless you watch the sub, then you haven't really seen it. And, you know, I get that with a lot of things, but I've read the manga and I've watched the original series, I've watched Brotherhood, and, you know, I'm pretty sure I know what happens. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I know it all. But it's just, yeah, I just think it worked really well. Like a lot of the homunculi, they were done really, really well and very true to form.
Yeah.
Like I love Gluttony.
I was so surprised that he looked really like as accurate as possible.
Yeah, like really, really good. And I mean, yes, him opening his belly was a bit CGI heavy, but I mean,
yeah, but I mean that would have to be.
How else could you do it? You know, it was still bloody terrifying.
You probably would end up spending more money doing that practically.
Yeah.
Than if you just did the CGI.
Yeah. And then, I mean, Lust with her nails, really done well. And, you know, that is actually, Lust's death there is how you immediately know they've gone for Brotherhood over how the original adaptation from the manga to the anime was.
Interesting. I didn't know that, but that's because I've only ever seen Brotherhood. I didn't bother watching the original.
Yeah, the original is very good. I'd say if we go by the thing that I always compare it to is the Nina and Alexander story with Tucker, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Brotherhood came out much later.
Yeah.
But all with the same original voice cast, which is just perfect. But anyway, I digress. In the very original series, the Nina and Alexander arc was drawn out over a lot more episodes than it was in Brotherhood, to the point where I feel like you connect a lot more with Nina and Alexander. So when Tucker turns them into his talking chimera, it hits you so much harder.
Mm-hmm.
Like the very first time I saw it, I was weeping, you know?
Oh, okay. I'm glad I watched Brotherhood now then.
Yeah, and then in Brotherhood, like, yes, it happens, and yes, it's very sad, but it happens much, much faster to help with the pace of the entire story kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's still very sad, and it's still brutal what Tucker does, but, you know, I think you connect a lot more with it in the original series. But, I mean, either way, it was done very well in this adaptation, and of course they had to do it, but I mean, any iterance of seeing it is always too soon.
Yeah.
I'm still not over it.
I'm not.
Edward, come play with me. I hate it.
I think the only thing that made it easier for me to see in live action is I watched Brotherhood in English, so I watched the dub.
Yeah.
But I watched this film in Japanese.
Yeah.
So I think it made it a little more bearable because I didn't have that same cognitive connection. But at the same time, I still physically saw the thing on screen and I didn't like it.
Oh my god, it's when she licks Dad's hand. It kills me. Every time, man. Every time. But, you know, I mean, it was done well. Like, Mustang was great. I mean, Hughes is cast perfectly.
I know, right? Oh, that was such a good casting.
Although there are some interesting design choices, like in this, Hughes' wife is just pregnant, whereas he doesn't have his daughter at that point in time. And, you know, Hughes' funeral originally in Brotherhood is absolutely brutal, with his daughter asking why are they burying Daddy, and it's just one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever witnessed.
I guess they chose not to do that because they were already subjecting you to the Chimera.
Yeah, and two horrendous deaths, if it were, of children. Well, not of children, but, you know,
Yeah.
involving children in some capacity would have been awful.
Yeah.
But, you know, and I think they chose a good end point for it. There are some things which obviously, of course, they left out. So, like, Barry, who's the serial killer, who Tucker ends up soul binding to a piece of armor after learning it from Al, that kind of thing, which all takes place in Laboratory 5. Yeah, there's a lot of things which obviously they've had to condense for the film, because, you know, just suddenly having Barry the Chopper in it would have just been confusing as anything, you know?
I'm so glad I have you here for this, because I don't remember half of that stuff. I'd imagine this is what people feel like when they talk Dragon Ball with me, and I'm like, oh yeah, you know that bit, and then that bit. I don't know what you're fucking talking about.
I would.
That's how I'm sitting here right now. I'm like, I'm so glad you know all this stuff, because I'm just like, yeah, it was a good film, but it's about what I remember.
Yeah, but I just love. I probably have rewatched Brotherhood. I've seen the original anime once. I think I've read it all once, and I've probably rewatched Brotherhood close to 6 or 7 times.
Wow. Okay. Jeez.
And I'm very close to starting it again because it's all on Netflix currently.
Fair enough.
So, I mean, it's just great. But yeah, Envy was done very well. But as I said earlier, and I will get into it properly now, my main gripe with the entire film is Winry Rockbell. And the actress, I looked her up. She seems notable enough. She's done quite a few things in Japan. But how she portrayed Miss Rockwell, I can't get over it. I don't like it at all. Number one, it's not Winry. She's just not playing Winry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that is not Winry's character at all. Like, yes, she's a mechanic kind of thing, but that's about as far as it goes, the comparison wise. Number two, I think the entire precedent to see how awful it's going to be from the start is that incredibly awkward initial hug, if you can even call it a hug, with Alphonse, where she just like walks up to him and just like puts her arms against him and like presses up against him, and she's like, and I'm just like, what are you doing? It's just hug him, you know? It just irritated me. And then
at the same time, saying just hug him, it was CGI, so she probably didn't actually have anything to hug.
She could hug him. She could just hug. He was in motion capture. She could have just hugged it easily. But anyway, even like there's a bit where, you know, when she first sees Ed, for example, and he's broken his arm and, you know, it's hanging limp and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And she sees him and she's meant to be angry, but she like walks over to him with this weird like smile, not actually angry expression, and then walks over
Oh yeah, it's like, I've seen my long lost friend. Hey friend.
Yeah, but it's just it's not even this whole, you know, some actors in Japan overacting or anything like that. Personally, my thought is she's just not a good actress, and I think that's where it stems from my point of view.
Wow. Fair enough.
She just half ruined it for me.
Wow.
But I still enjoyed it. And, you know, I know Pepe very much agrees with me because I have expressed this to him multiple times, and he said, I fully understand where you're coming from, and I concur. That, you know, she lets down a lot of the film. Like, you know, Riza, she's played really well. Woman who plays Lust, she's played really well.
Yep.
It's just, you know, they made a poor choice for Winry, unfortunately, and it detracts. But I just dropped my phone again. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So interesting. This, I don't know if you knew this, but when I was just looking into it the other day, 22nd of May, although it's not on Netflix yet.
Yeah.
Fullmetal Alchemist 2 just came out.
Wait, what?
There is a second one. It just came out.
Huh?
And next month, and by next month I mean this month because we're in June, a month later, the third and final film are coming out.
Oh my god, they made more of these?
I've watched the trailer, so it clearly did quite well, and I'm quite happy about this. So,
I mean, like, I'm happy about it too, right? But they made more of these?
yeah.
And they didn't make another JoJo or a Bleach?
Well, clearly FMA did much better, I guess. But they are coming to Netflix, apparently. We just don't know when. But so number 2 is called Fullmetal Alchemist, and it's called The Avenger Scar, or Scar the Avenger, one of the two. So it's all about Scar.
Makes sense.
Which is great. And the actor who plays him looks really cool, and I'm excited for that. And then the last one is called The Last Transmutation.
Ooh.
So over the course of these next 2 films, they're clearly going to cover the rest of Brotherhood as best they can. But I was looking at the cast list, and there are a lot of notable people who were missing from the first film, who are all gonna be in this next one, which makes me really happy. So
okay, well that's good.
Armstrong's coming into it.
Oh yes.
Fura Bradley's of course coming into it.
Yes. Oh my god.
You know they're doing Brotherhood because Armstrong's sister, Olivier, she isn't in the original series, but she's going to be in it, so they're covering the proper storyline.
Oh wow, that's pretty far, isn't it?
Yeah, so Olivier's going to be in it. Selim Bradley has been cast, which means we're going to get Pride, the first homunculus. Ooh. And that is going to be terrifying. I cannot wait. He's terrifying enough in the manga and the anime. Who else have we got? I've said Fura Bradley, haven't I?
Yeah.
We've got all the rest of the Rockwells. We've got Teacher, she's been cast. Teacher's husband, the big bulky blacksmith dude.
Yeah.
Shin has been cast.
Shin. Oh, that's an interesting one. Oh.
Yeah, considering we haven't had Greed yet, and Shin becomes Greed, so we've had him.
Interesting.
And it made me notice as well, like, when Roy burns Envy and he's like, this is your last life, kind of this is your last life, then Envy runs away and he sets him on fire, and then we see Envy, I'm gonna say them actually because I think the gender is very, very ambiguous on Envy, always has been.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be androgynous.
Yeah, very, very androgynous. But they are in the trailer for the next one, which makes sense because in the actual storyline, Envy is far from dead at this point.
Yeah.
So, it's the fact that, yes, we saw them burn, but because we didn't see them die in the same way we saw Lust die, they're not dead yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, the trailer is purely in Japanese. There are no subtitles yet, but you get a good sense of what's to come and what's going on. The action looks great. Like, the guy who's playing Scar looks really, really good. They look like they're trying to cover a lot in both films, but I'm sure it's doable. So I'm interested to see their father and stuff like that. I had no idea, Nathan, until I looked it up yesterday.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I didn't even think to look it up because I guess because of Bleach and JoJo, I was just assumed.
Yeah, I mean, I looked it up for all of them. So I looked up JoJo Chapter 2. There was nothing, no news on it. I looked at Bleach, another second film, no part on it. And then just from where Fullmetal Alchemist ended, I was just like, I wonder. I Googled it, only to find out that, yeah, in Japan, about 2 weeks ago, the new one came out.
Damn, I'm hyped.
We need someone to sub it, and then we'll wait for Netflix. We're not going to be pirates. Yo.
Yes, support the official release. Oh, wow. I'm kind of speechless because I'm, like, so excited.
Yeah, honestly, I had no idea. I was ecstatic when I found out. I'm just like, I will watch these.
What definitely, because if Scar is going to be in the second one, that means there's going to be way more action, because that was kind of what my gripe with this first one is I felt it was very lacking in the action department.
Yeah, but you can tell from this trailer already, like, it's literally, Scar's got his creation hand and his destroying hand.
Oh.
You literally see the swipes that he does, and it's just destroying stuff. It looks really good. It really does. I think they've even potentially upped budget on this,
I'm going to have to go watch the trailers.
I'll do it.
But also, that just gets me excited.
Yeah.
Because again, when I watched the first film, yeah, they had action and, the alchemy was cool. And actually, funny enough, the alchemy was the thing that didn't look that CGI to me.
Oh, yeah, I think the alchemy was done really, really well. It was more when you had, the living soldiers or the fake soldiers, whatever you want to call them, living soldiers, you know what I mean?
I know what you meant. The weird,
the white things with the eyes and...
The white Zetsus from Naruto.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just they did fighting and stuff, but I was like, it's kind of lame, or it's it's got decent choreography, but at the same time, it's nothing like that major, nothing that special.
Oh no, Ed barely fought. I mean, he fights at the very beginning, and then he does a bit of clapping and stuff throughout.
Yeah.
But then, like, the very final fight, in inverted commas, is literally just him ripping his arm off, and then at one point he puts a wall between Roy and Lust, and that's it. That's all Ed does, really.
Pretty much. I think the most fighting you actually see is when him and Alphonse are arguing, because, Alphonse is like,
I'm not real.
yeah, you give me fake memories, you're not my brother. And then they fight, and he's like, stop. Use your other hand. You're gonna bust up your hand, and he's
oh god, that's actually so brutal there. And I mean, again, they kept that true.
Yeah,
because that is how Ed reacts. But he's just like, no, I'm gonna use my
real hand. Yeah.
Can I just get back to that as well? That's one thing that's always like, I get trying to get your brother's body back, but not gonna lie, if I could have a metal arm and a metal leg that can fully functionally feel because his nerve endings are literally attached to it, so he can feel everything, I'd have one. That would be dope.
I mean, maybe not so much the leg, but like for me, the arm, or even just like the hand and the wrist. Because later on in the series, like in the anime, he like turns it into like a blade. I'm like, that's cool.
Oh yeah, he just does. Oh, it's so funny that he's like, you can't see me, but I literally just clapped and then ran my hand across my arm. Like, wow, he does it. I'm so sad.
Well, the thing is, you didn't see me, but I also like did a hand motion like over my arm. So,
I used to have a Ed Ulrich cosplay. It was the very first thing that I ever cosplayed as, but
I've seen the picture.
Unfortunately, I had to chuck it out when we moved because there was no room for it anywhere.
It's alright. The first cosplay I ever did was Goku, and the costume don't fit anymore, so I think I had to throw it.
Sad. I mean, I wanted to keep the red jacket at least, but I didn't. But now I have a feeling there might be some better ones out that mimic how the live action film looked.
Oh yeah, surely by this point. I will say that the costume design was really good in that film. Like in most of the films, if not all the films we watched, the costumes were really on point.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I think the only one to me that almost looked like it was just someone in cosplay was Byakuya.
Yeah.
But everyone else it kind of suited quite well. But it's just the scene when Byakuya like first appears to Ichigo and Rukia.
I think it's because of the casting choice for Byakuya.
Both the casting choice and that suddenly he's just appeared in the real world while everyone is almost wearing just like their normal school kid clothes, and then there's just him stood there in his like white and black robes.
But then, I mean, at the same time, like, Renji's doing the same stuff.
I mean, true. But yeah, maybe it is casting because Renji kind of looked fine to me. But hey.
I actually think it is kind of the casting, because I think the guy who was casted for Byakuya didn't quite sell it to me. Like, he didn't have enough of a stern or stoic enough face. He looked kind of too thuggish. At least that's my opinion.
I know what you mean, but yeah.
But besides that, like, again, like in all of these films, and Fullmetal Alchemist especially, because I liked Ed's costume, like his outfit, because I was like, man, that's exactly what he wore.
Yeah, they did the military outfits so well.
Yeah, innit? Like, you're never quite sure how realistic they're going to make this stuff. But I was reading into the film, and like, for Fullmetal Alchemist, they actually also went and filmed in Italy.
That's cool.
So like, they have all Japanese actors and stuff.
So Riol actually was properly...
Yeah, but they all went out and filmed on location in an Italian village.
You can tell now that you see that, actually.
Yeah, like... It does feel a bit strange, innit? Because you're like, it looks Italian, but there's all these Japanese people around.
Yeah.
Kind of confused. But no, yeah, like they went out and filmed in a town. So like all of that is like on set, like on location. So that was cool.
That's cool. I mean, the casting, as we say, was great. I am, like we mentioned that, maybe Jotaro could have been a little bit buffer. That is the one thing I'm slightly apprehensive about with Armstrong. Like, they better have some kind of Japanese bodybuilder playing him.
I know, right?
It just has to be the Japanese Rock or the Japanese Dave Bautista or something like that.
Weirdly enough, the first thing that came to mind is, I don't even know if the guy can act. I mean, he's probably not an actor, he's just a cosplayer. But do you remember a few years back, there was a picture from like Comic-Con, the Japanese Comic-Con, and there was that one guy who did muscle form Roshi?
No, I'm gonna Google it. Japanese Comic-Con, muscle
like Comic-Con Roshi. Like, the dude looks so realistic, and he's like pretty ripped. I actually think he would be pretty good, but I don't think he's an actor. I think he's just a fan.
Oh wow, okay, that is dope. Yeah,
Yeah, like someone like that.
he needs to be ripped that much. Yes, very much so.
Like someone like that. Oh my god. Because I think that was my issue with Chad, is that the guy who played Chad was big enough in like height,
But was he big enough? Yeah.
but he wasn't like ripped enough. He wasn't buff enough. You know, like Chad's like quite a muscly guy in the anime. And this guy was like taller than everyone else and had a bigger frame, but I don't think he was necessarily more muscular than anyone else.
Yeah, that's fair. Very fair assumption.
And you're right, like characters like Armstrong and Teacher's husband, those guys need to have like fucking tree trunks for legs and fucking just massive biceps, like bigger than the average person's head. You know what I mean? Like they have to be stupid muscular.
They really, really do. And I really, really hope that they've gone for that, you know, because Armstrong's probably my favorite character from the series as well.
Armstrong is the best character.
Oh, he's just fabulous. I love him. And his fight with Sloth at the end is just incredible. Like the perfect person to fight Sloth.
Exactly.
He's just great.
You've seen Scott, I haven't yet. Is he ripped enough? Because Scott's quite a bulky guy too.
No. He's not, no, but he looks decent enough. I say he's just a very in shape dude, but he's not like scar ripped, you know. But he's in shape, but you know.
Okay.
If you compare Scar with Armstrong, like Armstrong's the one who needs to be huge.
True.
So maybe they had the choice of, you know, two people and one had to be Armstrong, so they went for the really, really bulky guy as Armstrong. But Armstrong isn't in the trailer as far as I could see. So
that's probably because they might not have got a guy muscular enough yet, so...
Or maybe they're going to CGI his muscles in.
Oh, no, don't do that.
No, it would be awful, wouldn't it?
It would. That would be the worst. Unless you're doing, like, fucking deep fake, in which case you've got a body double, and then they just put their face, the actor's face, over the body double face.
I mean, that could work, eh?
Because, I mean, like, it's not like body doubles hasn't been a thing forever in acting, in films and stuff. So, like, it could work. You just get one muscular dude who can't really act, and then you get the guy who can act.
Fura Bradley looks good though, albeit quite short, which is interesting. But you know, he looks the part. Eye patch in the right place, like proper full-on tash. And
I mean, maybe they'll give him the Tom Cruise treatment. You know, a bunch of apple boxes.
I mean, you know, that's the funny thing, that the guy who played Ed isn't actually particularly short. So then when everyone calls him short in the film, it's just a bit redundant.
Yeah, like even when it stood next to your favorite character, Winry, like he was like almost the same height, and I'm like, that's not.
Yeah, and when they're calling him puny and stuff like that. But, you know, it's the same thing with Koichi,
yeah.
Right? It's hard to just, you know, you find someone who's the right actor for it, but
true.
They're not gonna give them like the Hobbit or Gimli treatment, are they? Like John Rhys Davies, who played Gimli, was what, 6'5"? He was taller than all of them, and yet he was Gimli. But, you know,
I mean, I guess if they exude the right, like, I don't know, like the right spirit of the character, then who cares?
Yeah. Very true.
Because you'll believe it as long as they can play the character properly.
Yeah, and I guess they did more go for the words puny rather than like tiny or anything. So he was just like, "Oh, who are you calling a puny alchemist?"
Yeah.
So yeah, it does.
It does have a slightly different connotation. Yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
Oh man, I just still can't believe that there's two more. I actually thought about watching like an extra film or two to be like, haha, I surprised you. Like I did actually think about watching Evolution, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. So
we'll have to get you to watch it at some point, and then Pepe and I can quiz you on it.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
Subject you to it.
That might not be.
Well, we'll do when the new FMA 2 films come out on Netflix. We can re-liaise about them.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely got to get you back for that. But like the Dragon Ball Evolution, that might not. If I've got anything to say about it, that's not going to be an episode you'll ever see.
That's entirely fair.
It may happen off recording, but you're not going to get my reaction to it.
That's fair.
Well, you, the audience, not Sam. Sam will definitely be there if I ever get subjected to that nonsense.
Maybe I'll just force you to watch it one time when you come over, or when we're both at Pepe's or something.
I wouldn't be surprised. You both made... Well, you didn't make me. I also kind of wanted to watch it, but we did watch the Super Mario Brothers movie, so...
Oh my god, I love that film. But yes, we did.
Yeah. That was hot garbage, but it was good garbage.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't call Dragon Ball good garbage.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think I'll ever have that reaction, especially considering that's my favorite series of all time.
I'm sure you've heard of this, but just have you ever thought of Goku at high school?
No, never.
Well, that's what you get.
I've also never thought, do you know what I'd love? Yamcha as the school bully. Yeah, that's what I want. And I want Master Roshi to be Choyun fat and just sort of live out on the outskirts of the town or the city, not fucking on an island way out in the ocean.
At least the hands move fast when they're punching.
Well, they better, because something has to be okay in that film. I'm already dreading this, and this isn't even a thing we've really planned. God, I hate the idea of this. So, with that, let's end the episode. Thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, hit that bell button to get notified, and check us out on podcast platforms. We've got the links in the description, as well as Sam's, located at the top. We'll catch you next week for another episode.